My name is TJ with Boys of Barbecue Competition and Catering, and I'm going to tell you why I got this tool. Should be a lot of fun. I found this tool really highlights whenever you have bigger pieces of meat such as briskets. It cut my trimming time down to about a third of what it actually used to be. With a traditional knife, between 10 to 20 briskets is what I typically trim up anyway for any kind of event, and it saved a ton of time, at least 2 to 3 hours per cook. It's been amazing. So the biggest thing that this tool does to help is probably going to be the consistency. So I can stick anybody on this tool and be just fine, very comfortable sticking them behind anything with a 2 or 3 minute presentation to show how to do it. Day to day, time is money. It saves a lot of time, and if I have employees working with me, it's going to save them time. It's going to save me money. It's going to make everybody more consistent and more productive. The best thing about this tool for me is going to be the blade. Because it rotates, you really don't have to sharpen any blades like you would a traditional knife. Traditionally, I'd have to sharpen a knife maybe 2 or 3 times per cook. And with this, I just have to run straight through and I'm good to go. This business has definitely helped Thrive a lot easier, made things a lot simpler to use. And I'm just beating a dead horse, but the say is definitely consistency across the board. The biggest thing for me on this tool, I've said it multiple times, is going to be the time savings. So time is money. If I have 3 people working with me doing prepping for a big wedding, for example, and there's 400 people, I got to trim 20 briskets. And if that's going to save me 2/3 of the time that it traditionally would with a regular knife, that's going to save 3-4 hours by itself. And that's 3 or 4 hours worth of labor that I don't have to pay. Traditionally, 20 briskets with other sides, prep, everything, yeah, so we're probably taking about 6 hours to prep. And with this rotary tool, it's cutting that time in half, if not a little bit more, especially on the protein side. So before I got this thing, I was using traditional knife just like everybody else. Biggest thing was I would have to, let's say I trim 20 briskets, I would actually have to stop everything and sharpen a knife for, may take 2 minutes, may take 5 minutes. But that alone, just not having to go back and reteach somebody how to sharpen and how to cut and how to trim, it saved so much time across the board. Biggest difference between a straight knife and a rotary knife for me, especially this tool, would be just the consistency and time. So with the rotary, it stays sharper longer just because you don't have to go back and sharpen it. If you do, there's a sharpening style that you can absolutely use. It's easy to use, but it's very, very minimal as much as you need to sharpen it. Competition guy would be to get a lot of the bigger pieces of fat off. You're definitely still going to have to use maybe a fillet knife to get some of the bigger cuts and make it just as consistent as could be, because it is a rotary tool, it is a disc, and you are going to have a little bit of cavity stuff in it within the meat. So if you can go back over it with a fillet knife and just stay consistent, it's going to be a lot easier. As far as maintenance goes, it really could not be simpler. You can take the head off of the tool, stick it in the dishwasher, or just run it in hot water like you normally would a regular knife. It's super easy to maintain. The best part that I liked about it is with the tool, it's a rotary disc, so you can either dig a little bit deeper or shallower depending on what kind of meat you need. If you just need to take off the silver skin, for example, on a brisket, or take off the full decal fat, you take all of it off. You don't have to adjust anything. It's wonderful. It works a lot better without the guard because you're able to take thicker or thinner pieces of cut whenever you actually needed it, instead of having to adjust everything. And it just took more time. That's the biggest thing. It definitely helped flow contours a lot better. It was easier to use, that if you need to take a thicker part out of a piece of meat, worked out wonderfully. So just having that adjustability without the guard in it helped me a lot. Trimming just about anything, you're going to have little speckles of fat or whatever you're taking off of the meat. You're going to have little speckles of it on your shirt or maybe on the prep table or something like that. I was definitely not quite ready for that at first. Now I kind of know what to look for and how to adjust the tool. There's 2 settings on it. So if you keep it on the slower setting, it'll work a lot easier and not sling meat near as far or fast. As far as advice for the first time, give it 3 solid cooks. If you're in catering, give it 3 solid cooks and you'll be just fine. You'll be able to use the tool. No questions asked. It is very self-explanatory. Absolutely, I would recommend it. So this thing has saved so much time and consistency across the board for anybody that I give the tool to, whether it's being big briskets or something as small as rib trimmings. It helps every single day of the week. Definitely going to be a time saver for anybody in barbecue. So if you're trimming up briskets, pork butts, I've tried it on ribs. Anything that's going to save a little bit of time in the kitchen is going to be a big deal at the very end of the cook. No, I'm not going to go back to just a straight knife if I can. So a lot of times at competitions, I'm going to have a trailer, but the trailer may not have power to it. That'd be the only time that I would not be able to use this tool. As far as catering goes, every single time that I'm doing any kind of brisket, I will 100% be using this drill.